Hello, welcome to the Level 20 Lounge for Level 20 Sportsline. We've got a great show for you tonight. We've got a great, very interesting guest. And, I'm Mike Migliori, Smoking Jim Frazier, Chip Hayner, and Al Levine, the Talking Machine. We've got like I said, a great show. We're going to start out as we usually do. Al, what's on your mind?
$7 burgers and fries. That's what's on my mind. Come on down to Level 20. $7 burgers. He didn't pay me anything for that, but they're $7 burgers. What's really on my mind is I had to help my sister take a vehicle down to Jersey. Now, I don't know about you, but most of us are Steeler fans, Pirate fans, Penguin fans. But I go down there and I say I'm from Pittsburgh. They're spitting on the ground. They're going like, I hate you. And I'm like, well, there's only a couple or one or two people that maybe hate me. Why's that? They go, you're from Pittsburgh. And I go, wait a second. Did I mention we have 6 Super Bowls? And they're like, no, I can't hear you. And my sister goes, hey, Al, we're trying to sell this furniture. I said, they're Philly fans too, I'll bet. And they go, yeah, we are. I said, that's outrageous. I said, but how do you have a guy named Con Vic as your quarterback? They go, yeah, we agree with you. Who wants him? And I go, who's your backup? They go, we don't know. So I go, I know who our backup is, Charlie Batch. Just kidding. But anyhow, they are loyal fans, and I even met this last lady on the beach because we finally made it to the beach, 70-degree weather. She's got a fishing pole stuck in the water. I knew she was an Eagle fan, green garb on and everything else. So I go, you catch any fish? She goes, no, not today. I said, you ever catch any fish? She goes, no. I said, what are you doing? She goes, well, I'm fishing. I said, are you an Eagle fan? She goes, yeah. And she goes, where are you from? You know, I said, Pittsburgh. She goes, I hate you. Just like that. I said, well, I hope you catch some fish then. That's what's on my mind.
Thanks, Al. Chip, what's on your mind?
What's on my mind? I know that we like to keep things light on this program. You like to interject some humor, but I'd like to touch on a little subject that's a little bit more serious. And an event that happened this past Saturday. During a youth football game over in East Liberty, there was a shooting, and 3 people got shot while 6- and 7-year-olds were playing in a Pee Wee Football League game. And I just can't understand that. Why these things have to happen, and why we got to carry guns around, and why we have to put people's children and their families at risk when they go to watch a Pee Wee football game. It seems like the Pittsburgh police are cracking down, and the community's cracking down, and they need to give up these kids that were responsible for the shooting, because this is the kind of thing that we can't allow to have happen anywhere. But that's what's on my mind.
Thanks, Chip. Jim, what's on your mind?
Hey, thanks, Magic Mike. Just want to keep it going. I'm 7-2 on my Monday night and my picks this week. I want to give people an early pick on Monday Night Football in case you want to make some money. San Diego Chargers over the Denver Broncos. Also wanted to give a quick shout out to my good friend Mike Migliori. A lot of people don't realize that I am a sports writer for several newspapers, and Mike Migliori is responsible for me actually winning an award, the Golden Quill Award. Mike Migliori met me years ago at a boxing match. He says, he told me right to my face he don't like many sports writers, but he liked the articles that I had, and thanks to Magic Mike, I was able to win the award. And if you look around this place right now, Magic Mike is very loved by a whole lot of people. So thanks, Magic Mike.
Have you seen any of them recently? Because I'd like to be.
The Pittsburgh Steelers are just not that good. Listen, there's no Mel Blunts or Rod Woodsons in the secondary. There's no Jack Lamberts or Jack Hams at linebackers. No Iron Mike Websters or Alan Fanekas at offensive line. No Jerome Bettises or Franco Harris in the backfield. However, they do have the greatest quarterback of all time. Congratulations to Big Ben Roethlisberger. Just broke Terry Bradshaw's record. Took Bradshaw 14 years to pass for 27,000 yards. Big Ben did it in 9 years. He must be the greatest. Big Ben is on pace right now at only 30 years old to pass for 50,000 yards, 400 touchdowns. He must be the greatest. I tell you what, with my press pass, I get into all Pittsburgh Steelers games for free, but I would pay to go see Big Ben.
No, he wouldn't. He would not pay, folks.
I hope not more than $9.
These fries are the best.
Well, you know,
fries.
there's a local radio station. It sounds a lot like fun, but it's not. And this radio station is allowing your listeners to vote on who are the greatest Steelers in the last 80 years. The only two names on the quarterback ballot are Roethlisberger and Bradshaw. You're right. Terry Bradshaw only threw for 27,000 yards in 10 years. But you know what? They only threw 2 times a game during that time. Right? Instead of over and over and over again until they get it right. Ben Roethlisberger will never be as good as Terry Bradshaw. He shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. He will be because he's very popular. I'll tell you what, one thing that Roethlisberger has done that Terry Bradshaw could never manage to do is lose a Super Bowl. And once you're on that, when you're talking about that, when it comes to the 80-year season voting, they're talking about Troy Polamalu as a lock. Well, okay, maybe, all right? But I'll tell you what, he's not the best safety that the Steelers have ever had. Donnie Shell is the best safety that the Steelers have ever had. So when you cast your vote, you have to think first that most of the people that are voting in this are people that have never seen the Steelers of the 70s. They never saw Mike Webster play. They never saw Terry Bradshaw play, unless they saw some films or highlights here and there, and they never saw Donnie Shell, who should be in the Hall of Fame. It's unfortunate that guys like Troy Polamalu will get into the Hall of Fame before him because the writers like him and they've seen him more recently. And you know what? Troy Polamalu might not even be the second best safety that the Steelers ever had because Mike Wagner was pretty damn good too.
Yes, he was.
So when you cast your ballots on this ridiculous radio station, think about that. Take a look at the people that came before you were born. And as far as Roethlisberger, well, yeah, I'm listening on the way over to that same radio station, and people are going on and on and on about how Alamito Tiamu should be thrown out of football. He should be, kicked off the Steelers team. He should be suspended for life. On and on and on and on and on, because he got drunk and he crashed into a couple of cars and led the police on a chase. That's a terrible thing to do. But if you look at the NFL, I mean, the penalty for rape is only a 4-game suspension. That's what's on my mind. And since we're on the Steelers, we might as well first do our moratorium on the Pirates. Chip,
Yeah.
how did it end up?
It ended up badly. We ended up 4 games under.
It's the least I can do for you.
3 games under 500 for the year. The Pirates have got to regroup and rebuild and fix the things that were broken this year. There's a lot of work that needs to be done on the Pirates, and one of the good things that happened was Greg Ritchie resigned and took the head coaching job at George Washington University, job which he turned down in August when the team was doing real well. The fortunes of the team turned around, and he decided maybe it's a good idea that if I resign before I get fired. But the Pirates will have a new hitting coach this year, maybe somebody that can teach the batters to put the bat on the ball.
Well, it's a good thing that he did resign because the Pirates were not going to fire him. In order to fix the 20 consecutive losing seasons, the Pirates have decided to go ahead and keep the manager and his coaching staff, pretty much guaranteeing a 21st losing season, because you cannot take this guy seriously if you're a player. Right? First, the Pirate organization has rewarded failure. When you reward failure, well, you have no reason to expect success. Okay, so the Pirates managers now are keeping their job, even though they've blown a 16-game over 500 in the middle of August season and ended up under 500. If the manager and the coaching staff are not responsible or not held responsible for their performance, how can they expect to hold their players responsible for their performance? And you know what? They're already showing that that's not the case. Who knows why, but Clint Hurdle was designated Mike McHenry as his starting catcher. Because why? He almost hit 200. He's also said that James McDonald will be a starting pitcher next year. He took McDonald out of the rotation. He's done nothing between the time he was taken out of the rotation and today to show that he's changed anything or that he deserves to be a starting pitcher. But Clint Hurdle decided, okay, yeah, we're going to leave him as a starter. When you do that, you have a culture of losing. Like I've said over and over again, the Pirates have a culture of losing. They are not going to win by bringing in managers with losing records, players with losing records, pitchers with losing records. What they need is to make a major change. They need to bring in a manager who has won, who has a winning record and can say, look, I have a winning record. This is how I did it. Listen to me. We'll win. He has to have some credibility. If he doesn't have credibility, why are the players going to listen?
To speak to a couple of your points, Mike, and I just seem to like to butt heads with you on this. But
hey, Chip, you're right. You're entitled to be wrong all you want.
and wrong though I may be, I'm still going to voice my opinion. But, you know, you look at what Clint Hurdle has done with the Pirates. They won 57 games in 2010. They won 72 games in 2011. 2012, they won 79 games. I am seeing a progression of gradually getting better. You know, and to speak to your point, they need to hire a manager with a winning record. Generally, managers with winning records don't get fired. So I don't think there's too many of them out there on the job market right now. And, you know, I think they're headed in the right direction. You know, you can't right a ship that was floundering as badly as the Pirates were after 2010 in a year or two, especially if you're not going to be spending $200 million on your payroll. And you know the Pirates aren't going to do that. I think they're building the team the right way for the market that they're in, and you just have to be patient. I know we all want it to happen yesterday, but sometimes things don't work out that way.
Well, look at the money they're going to get now, Chip. They got that new TV contract. They're making over $20 million a year with a losing culture. Now they're going to get over $40 million. Now, I was on the bandwagon almost as long as I've been on ever. My knees are still hurting. I got all scraped up. And here's what he's going to do now. You're going to keep the basic core group you have, and you needed help anyhow. Like James McDonald, we can get a half a year out of them. What are we going to do after that? Maybe A.J. Burnett,
you know,
same type of thing. What do we do?
And you know, and to speak to both of your points, you know, I think assuring James McDonald a position as a starting pitcher next year. I've said this before, and I think that really the only two pitchers that have jobs on the starting rotation next year are Wandy Rodriguez and A.J. Burnett. Everybody else, you know, it's up in the air. I mean, McDonald, they may want to make him a starting pitcher. That would be something I would make him earn. I'd bring in a bunch of young arms. You know,
What Kool-Aid? You took some of my Kool-Aid and some of Mike's. Nice.
You know what? And maybe get out there and spend some money on the free agent market, but they can't, because they have the money to spend. They can't spend it foolishly. You know, they can't.
That's where I agree with you.
Because what the Pirates have done in the past is they've thrown money at aging veterans, hoping to squeeze one more year out of them, and ended up looking foolish and paying somebody that ultimately ends up not on the roster by the end of the year.
Right, you have to make an honest effort and do it. And these has-beens, look at Morris, look at Derek Bell. You can go through the whole bunch of these guys.
There's a litany of them. And, you know, but I mean, you know, it'll be interesting to see what the free agent market bears this year. Obviously, Josh Hamilton is the cream of the crop, and a little bird whispered in my ear that the Milwaukee Brewers may be actively pursuing him this winter. But, you know, I don't. You know.
Well, look at some thoughts in baseball are once you get close to 500, you got to spend that money on a couple quality players, and you actually have to spend some serious money to get that 10-game difference, that 15-game difference. There's no guarantee.
That doesn't guarantee success.
Just like the managers. I was all in with you when the gut instinct was fine. But then when his gut was telling people to give up 11 runs, leave them in, have people running errors, he's given all these signals. Somebody will talk about chewing gum, but I don't know if that was a signal. I don't think chewing gum and hanging your belly over the railing's a signal. Mike can talk about that later, but that got to be annoying when they ran themselves out of innings where they could have won a half a dozen games, right?
The signal was his job description. That was all he did.
See, bingo, there we go.
But the thing we seem to lose sight of, okay, everybody wants to point the finger at Clint Hurdle as being the ultimate reason why the Pirates failed this year. You know, and I would like to take the players to task because they're the ones that are out there that are making the same kind of mistakes the kids make in Little League. They're the ones that aren't back, you know, hitting the cutoff man. They're the ones that are overrunning bases. They're the ones that aren't throwing out.
And you don't think those are symptoms of poor coaching and poor management?
That's
you know,
my
I mean,
feeling.
At the major league level, you know, players shouldn't be making mistakes like that.
But here's the thing they do.
Be letting them.
They make them continuously. I say sit them down. Sit those guys down. Look at Tabata. He proved the true character of a baseball player that doesn't want to play.
But that shows one of the Pirates' biggest problems with it this year. The biggest problems is they had absolutely no depth. So you're going to sit them down and put in who? Okay?
Bring a minor leaguer up that's winning a championship or something.
The best chance they had was with the players they had on this roster this year. Okay? Now the roster needs to be revamped, and that's something that they're going to spend the next 3 or 4 months working over. So right now we can talk until we're blue in the face. Let's see where we're at February going into the into spring training and see what kind of a team we're going to be bringing.
We could talk about it till we're blue in the face, but fortunately, we don't have to talk about these bums again until February. So,
while we're talking about baseball, let's talk about the playoffs.
Okay.
Playoffs.
The playoffs. The first round series of playoffs was I think a rousing success. All 4 series went to 5 games. We saw some great baseball. We saw CC Sabathia shut down the Orioles in Game 5. We saw Justin Verlander shut down the A's in Game 5. The Cardinals. Look what the Cardinals did to the Nationals in the 9th inning.
Didn't they lose Pujols or something this year?
Oh, yeah, they did, but it didn't seem to affect them
Not till late in the year they come on.
They picked up Carlos Beltran, who was playing for the Giants last year, who happened to beat them with the home run last night.
Right.
So right now, playoffs are doing real well. Now, the prelude to the playoffs, the wild card play-in game. Now, I think that was really a fiasco for Major League Baseball, and I think they ought to revamp that. I'm thinking that what they ought to do is have a 3-game wild card play-in instead of a 1-game play-in, because here's what happens is the umpire blows a call, and Atlanta drops out.
Doesn't
of
the
playoffs.
Infield go all the way out to
Well,
340 out there? I read the rules.
The call was made, okay? The call was made. But the thing that I found most upsetting about that is the way the Atlanta Braves fans behaved after that call was made. They littered the field with garbage. They were completely unruly. And to be honest with you, I think that's something that should be addressed. That's kind of behavior that cannot be accepted in any sport.
Right.
And you do it on national television, and what kind of a message is that sending, young kids that are playing and aspiring to be a major leaguer? I mean, most of the people that went to these playoff games were season ticket holders. And, I go to the Pirate games and they get on there and they say, if you throw anything on the field, you can get up to a $5,000 fine. Well, the thousands of people that threw stuff on the field,
Chip, there wasn't enough security to stop them.
Banned them all from ever going to another Atlanta Braves game again. I mean, they needed to drop the hammer on these people and drop it hard. I mean, we also see this equate over into football. Look what West Virginia fans do when they win. They burn couches. They turn
they're
over
not
cars.
allowed anymore.
They set fires. I mean, you know what they ought to do? They took
It's a
112
felony
wins
now.
away from Penn State. Every time that the West Virginia fans start fires, burn sofas, etc., they should lose the win. Okay, then maybe
we got to put you in the NCAA commissioner job. Yeah. Chip, you're on a roll.
You know what they should do? They should take
Keep
all
your
those
eyes on
Atlanta
these
fans to Philadelphia, put them in a Flyers game with the Flyers fans, steal the building, and fill it up with water. That's what they should do.
Flush it.
But we talked about the Pirates. Like I said, thank God we don't have to talk about them again this year. But speaking of bums, Jim, what happened to the Steelers game?
I'll be real quick. How about them Blackhawks? Hey, everybody, Bethel Park High School upset the number 3 team in the state, Upper St. Clair, with a 9th grade quarterback. I tell you what,
Blackhawks.
I am a Blackhawk fan. I want to follow those guys, even though the quarterback is the coach's son. But hey, it's real simple with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I told everybody long time ago, it's very simple. I said when Bill Cowher's players begin to retire, the Pittsburgh Steelers will turn into the Pittsburgh Pirates, and that is what's happening right before your very eyes. They're just not that good.
Well, the players were pretty good when Cowher was the coach, but the coach wasn't. So, and they proved that because the players, Cowher left, they brought in Mike Tomlin, who'd never been a head coach anywhere, and he won a Super Bowl. Right? So they didn't need Cowher to win the Super Bowl. They just needed anybody to be the coach. They got Mike Tomlin, they went to the Super Bowl. Right now, no offensive line. They've got. Paul Malu's hurt. Woodley's hurt. That's got to hurt them. They lost Farrier, who called the plays for the defense. That's got to hurt them. They can't stop the run. They can't. All they can do is score. And you know what? If they can't score with the team they're playing, they're in trouble. And this week coming up, they play Cincinnati. There is no way that secondary is going to hold Cincinnati under 35 points.
They don't have a secondary. And, people are starting to question whether or not Dick LeBeau has lost touch.
He hasn't.
Dick LeBeau's schemes work. He needs the players in the scheme that will make the system work. Right now, he doesn't have it. And, the questions I have about the Steelers is, here we go, LaMarr Woodley with the hamstring, okay? Kept him out all last year. Now it's this year, okay? This is one of those nagging, aggravating injuries that linger on all year. I'm wondering about his fragility.
His what? His what?
Woodley.
I'm worried about mine too.
And then look at Troy Polamalu. When has Troy Polamalu played a whole season? I mean,
they're fragile.
He's one of the greatest safeties that ever played the game. He can't make it through a year. And then we rely so much on having them. Not having them in the defense right now is fairly obvious because we can't keep anybody from scoring. And, Sunday night, I'm afraid to say this, but, the Bengals, they may make the Steelers look kind of silly. A.J. Green, they don't have anybody that can cover him.
Well,
Ike Taylor's having the worst year of his career.
Well, I think it just caught up to him. I know Smoking Jim loves the guy, but with the replacement refs, he had this hang-on disease, and it just was lingering. He kept holding all the players, and I thought, well, maybe he's just doing it because of the replacement refs. Now he's getting caught every play because they saw it on film, and they're like, this guy's not going to get away with it. But one of the signs why I might have to agree with Mike and Smoking Jim about the Steeler record is I saw Tomlin pull a page out of Cowher's book. He was hugging players, and I swore he almost gave a kiss to Big Ben, but he couldn't reach his ear. Now, when did he start hugging him on national TV? I mean, that looked like Bill Cowher, that this is what we have to do. I mean, that was shocking in itself.
What is this, your Joe Biden imitation?
No, but the Steelers' problems are many right now. And, I think the Steelers are going to be a series of one-game winning and one-game losing streaks all year. They win 2 in a row this year. I'd be one of the more surprised people to see that happen.
They might have some trouble there.
I mean, look at the way the Cleveland Browns took apart the Bengals yesterday. I'm just glad that that the Bengals were the Browns' first win this year, not us.
Well, the Steelers might get lucky that way. It looks like Trent Richardson's been injured also. I can't imagine how they would stop him running. There's no way they're going to stop Green and Dalton. Like you said, the Cincinnati will put 35 points on them this week.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if the Steelers can score 45 points to beat them, but that's the way that's going to go. Houston Texans had a rough day. San Francisco 49ers had a rough day. They're still the two teams that will meet in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, the Giants took apart the 49ers pretty good yesterday, and I tell you what, Eli looked pretty cool doing it. I kind of enjoyed watching Jim Harbaugh lose yesterday, almost as much as I enjoyed WVU losing on Saturday.
Whoa.
Well, we've got a very special guest on our show tonight. Tony Lanero played baseball for Penn Hills High School when I was in high school. He went on to play for LSU, and from there went to play baseball in Italy for the Tuna Indians, I believe, and also played in the Olympics for Italy, played baseball in the Olympics. I'd like to bring him up and tell you a little bit about what he's got going on and where he went from there. Tony Lanero, come on up.
All right.
Welcome to the show.
Well,
Welcome aboard.
Thanks. I was listening to you guys talking over there, and I wanted to butt in.
Now's your chance.
Well, the hard part is living in Italy these last 20 years. These past 2 years, I finally got some ESPN.
Wow.
So I'm kind of getting up to date, but I can only watch what ESPN decides I can watch. So during the week, I really can't watch. Have the luxury of watching Big Ben or whoever you guys are lucky enough to watch every week. But yeah, it's nice to come home. Mike and I go back a long way. We went to high school together, and to kind of give you input what's going on, I went to left Penn Hills, went to LSU, played baseball. After that, I went to Italy, had a good career in baseball, and then I had to get out. Got out, and I stopped in 1998. In 2001, I got diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, and since then, my life has changed. I'm fighting it. And right now, the reason I came home with Mike and my other classmates that I can never thank what they did for me is a company in Italy made a film documentary about my life with my battles with MS. And so I'm hoping by coming home and thanks to Mike and other people is I brought this movie home, showed it, and I'm trying to get the message out. I don't want people to think all this hoopla is about me. And it's just, I think it's more important with the opportunity that I have is to bring the awareness about this disease. And it seems like people know about the disease, but there's a lot of people suffering in silence. And the message that I'm giving is that I don't want people giving up, to keep fighting. And like a real good friend of mine who told me when I first got sick, she was from Boston, and I've lived in Italy for 25 years, but one of the most proudest things everybody ever said to me, she told me, you can't give up because you're an American. I mean, even though I'm
what an inspiration.
even though I live in Italy, I have dual citizenship. I loved Italy, and above all, I always tell this story. When I got there, the Italian girls are really tough to go out with. I mean, it wasn't like today. I mean, it was. If you imagine, the Godfather, you had to meet you had to meet the parents and go home, and that's the way it was. I mean, here I come from LSU, and I always say it. I was 0 for the first 2 years. I was 0 for 2, never won a date. I mean, that's just the way it was, And the funny thing about it, I like telling this, I couldn't speak Italian good at the time, so I would have the the ham vocabulary here. I'd see a girl there, and I go, look up how or what is your name. So I go, come ti chiami. That means what's your name. By the time I got to the last word, they got tired of me and they said, they left me standing there with a book in my hand, But that's the honest to God's truth. But why I stayed here is in my third year I saw this girl that I fell in love with, and I finally had the courage. I walked up. I got tired of following her around the town. I finally hit her on the back and I said, "What's your name?" And she turned around. I said in Italian. She turned around, looked at me, and this is honest to God's truth. I don't want you guys blanking this out. She said, "What the F, in perfect English, do you want from me?" And I said, "I'd like to marry you." And we got married 7 months later, and we've been married for 29 years now.
God bless you. What a story.
Yeah, her name's Mimi. But,
Nice.
I like to talk about her because, with this disease, you need somebody next to you that's going to support you, put up with your anger. If I was an athlete, not that us athletes or people involved in sports are more special than the normal people. But, you wake up one morning and you found out you got your legs aren't working, or I'm sitting here talking to you guys right now, my feet are sleeping, and maybe tomorrow when I'm shaving, my arm don't work. I mean, these are things that I don't get used to, but you kind of got to get used to living with. And it's hard. It's not easy to get angry. And, having my wife next to me, she's been, I always say, I've been waiting for the Pittsburgh News to say there's a UFO swimming up the Mississippi River toward the Allegheny, because I always say one day she's getting mad at me. She's going to send my swimming across the ocean back home. But, it's been a battle, and the thing I just want to get the thing out there, not to give up. That's the most important thing.
Well, how do we see this movie or anything?
Well, we came home and I don't like talking about myself.
Well, you know what? You have to right now.
Okay.
Because you're going to help yourself.
Well,
and we all want to know.
Help your cause.
We all want to know.
Okay.
This will help the cause for MS.
I'll
and you're going to be like the spokesman tonight.
Okay.
So even though you're talking about yourself, think all the people you're going to help.
Okay, but the thing is,
if you can.
Okay, no. The reason why I came home is I got inducted into the Pennsylvania Hall of Fame.
Congratulations.
And, okay. It's a big honor. And I thank the people who inducted me. And I'm proud of the fact because that shows the people and family that supported me through the years when I was a baseball player. That we all must have did something right.
Yeah.
And that was an award that's for everybody.
Well, you worked hard to get that too.
Yeah, it was hard work, but I always say it was a God-given talent that I had being born, and I worked hard and it came out. And I accept the award with honor, but right now my priorities in life isn't the Hall of Fame. My priorities in life is thanking my wife, God, that I'm able to walk every morning.
Sure.
That's what's important to me right now. So I got inducted into the Hall of Fame, and so since I was coming home, the people who produced this documentary about me, that's supposed to come out around Christmas time in Italy, they asked me if I would like to bring it home. But since the documentary is in Italian, English, and French, what they did is in the French and Italian parts, they put the subtitles in, which I think went over pretty well. Mike saw it. I was a little bit worried about it because it might be kind of hard to follow the documentary and read. But it seemed like it went over well. But the Hall of Fame people wanted me to show it at the dinner. I mean, you guys are sports people, and you seem like you might understand where I'm coming from. There were 6 of us got inducted in the Hall of Fame, and I didn't think it was the right timing to show my documentary when it wasn't my evening. There were 6 of us up on a stage.
Right.
So I said, no, we're not doing that night because this isn't about me. It's about all of us. So with Mike and our other friends, they organized an evening up in Penn Hills at the school, and these guys did a hell of a job, my classmates. I mean, and we had a great turnout, and a lot of people showed up, and we showed the movie. So that's why I came home, was for the Hall of Fame. But the positive feedback that I received from the movies has been overwhelming. I didn't expect this to happen. I was glad we showed it because I was kind of getting an idea maybe what possibly can happen. So the website, the name of the documentary is called RideToFinish.com. Ride to Finish. And what we got planned right now is that we have to find a distributor in this country that would be interesting in the movie or in the documentary, and then from there getting the DVDs out.
How else are they going to get a hold of you? Just the website?
Yeah,
you want to give a phone number out? Because this will go places.
No, right. All you got to go to is RideToFinish.com. That's my website. I'm on Facebook. Tony Lanero on Facebook.
No, we want to help you, and out of respect for what you're doing, you're trying to beat this dreaded disease.
Yeah, it's
so we're with you on a fight like that. Don't even feel bad. This isn't just about you.
No, I always say I cycle a lot now. I don't know if I told you, if you guys know, but okay. What happened was, how much? Do you guys got a lot of time?
Keep going.
Can I keep going?
Let me interrupt you for 1 second.
Okay,
we're interested. We want to support you. Right. Come on now.
So what happened was when I got sick in 2001. Right, it was 2 months before 911, and that's when I had my first attack. My first symptoms were with my feet, and I slowly lost my legs up to my waist. They fell asleep, which is when your nerve system gets damaged, you'll start losing pieces of your body. So I lost my legs, couldn't speak, and I lost my arm. That was my first symptoms. And during 911, which we all watched on TV, I was laying on the couch watching that happen while I was sick. And at the time, I like to tell to people how it was. My symptoms were so bad that I wasn't able to go sleep upstairs in my bedroom with my wife for about 6 months. Had to wear a diaper. And here not that I'm special to anybody else, but I was somebody who always took care of myself. I was on the baseball field 2 years before I got sick, but it happened, and it's nobody's fault. It's just as human beings, we're fragile.
Right.
And so that was the first part. And then after 911, Flight 93, which is close here in Pennsylvania, Shanksville. That plane crashed up there, and Cannondale company that makes bicycles. They created a bicycle for 911. It was a red, white, and blue, real beautiful bicycle. And my mother had the idea to buy this bicycle and put it in a mail and send it to me. And what happened was this bike came to my house, and at the time I was just starting to walk a little bit. And I was just praying. I was hoping someday I was able to cut the grass because I knew what disease I had.
Well, how did you get to the point where you could walk now?
Well, after the medicine took effect, the damage that I had, the lesions, they were they call them Don, so to say.
Let me interrupt you for a second,
Yeah.
Tony. Tell us like the type of MS you have.
I got there's 3 type, and I would say I've had it for 11 years. So you're pretty safe to say I have re-emitting MS. That in my case, I usually have my worst times during the winter, like from right now until February. I usually have a major attack where I lose my leg or something, and then I have to go to hospital. And usually they give me a mixture of medicine, and the nurse come by the house, and hopefully that medicine will take away the inflammation I have. And then after inflammation, you got to start rehabilitation. Then after that happens, you got to hope that you'll regain what you lost.
Right. So instead of like a progressive MS where it gets continuously worse, it goes into remission so that you can recover.
Right. Over the past 11 years, what we noticed is my critical periods from now until February. And up until now,
Is that normal, even though this disease is like it? You
no,
have a period where you're like that or not?
Most people, my doctor said 95% of people suffer from the heat. I suffer in the winter. So I usually got to try to stay warm.
Okay.
And but after I have an attack, I go through swimming. Not swimming. Usually, if I'm pretty bad, I just float in a pool with my life
But
preserver.
you're a fighter, I can tell
Yeah,
that.
moving my legs, and then from there, then you go walk, and then my bicycle. That's what's been more. This works for me up until now. But anyway, I'm gonna tell you, they had the bike. My mom said this bike over me. I finally had the courage to get on it. I rode around the square where I live, and with my wife running along me at the time because I had damage. Still got damage in my brain, but I kind of learned to compensate the damage I have.
Right.
Beginning where you're used to maybe living work.
Well, how was your balance?
It was bad. It was
Okay.
bad. And then so you I really think my body got used to it, so you compensate.
Right.
You know. So I got to where I could ride a bike, and I started riding this bike, and I started feeling better in my legs. I think it was mental in my legs. I'm not a bicycle. I'm not a cyclist.
Okay.
I mean, I'm a catcher. I always say I'm always saying I was a catcher. I will always be a catcher. You know, people think I'm a cyclist. I'm not. I mean, it's just something.
Okay.
Something that's just happened. You know, something that I do.
We didn't lose your sense of humor either.
And no,
You
I
still
don't.
have that,
No,
I
I
see.
no, I have it. That's
Okay.
one thing I haven't lost. So anyway, I found that I could ride a bike, and I started feeling better and better. And I got to the point where I found I wanted something to challenge myself. You know, it wasn't enough just to go ride for a couple hours. I wanted something more.
Right.
So I just happened to buy this magazine in Italy, and I saw there was this race they do in Paris every 4 years. It's one of the biggest races in the world, the oldest race in the world. It's called the Paris-Brest-Paris, and from there it was first ran in 1860, and from there the Tour of France was born. So I was reading about this, and it's 850 miles nonstop.
Wow.
So I read about this ride at the time. I said, God, that sounds a little funny.
Yeah.
You know, somebody like me, I said it wasn't normal. So I made a couple phone calls in France, and I want to know how it worked, and I decided I'm going to do that.
How did you train for that? How many miles do you have to do a day?
You had to qualify. You had to do, I'll try to convert it. It was like 130 mile ride. Then you had to do 180 mile ride, and then a 250 mile, and then the last one you had to do a 400 mile. And there was these events. There was like a maximum time limit. Once you completed that, you had the right to go to Paris. So
you had to do all that to get to Paris.
Yeah, I did all
Qualify.
that. Yeah, I did that.
And you don't want to talk about yourself.
No, I mean,
Okay.
I didn't want to. I don't like to.
That's impressive. I'll just tell you. I'm
Okay,
a fan of yours
all right,
right now.
So I
Talk
did
some more.
All right, so I did this. I did that, and went to Paris. Me, my wife, Mima, and we took my dog. We drove to Paris. I took this ride, and I always say that the 3 most important days of my life. First one was I married my wife. Second one was I stepped on the Los Angeles Coliseum in 1984 in the Olympics,
Okay.
and Ronald Reagan was president. And then the day I was at the starting line at Paris-Brest-Paris, that was the 3 most important lives. And so I get up there, I go to do this ride. It starts at 12 at midnight.
Midnight?
Yeah, start time's 12 midnight. You got lights on your bike, and you have a maximum time to finish the ride, and you just go. There's controls along the ride where you have to stop, make sure judges are going through the controls. There's about 6,000 riders from all over the world. And I went up and took off. Everything was fine until I was about, I was trying to think, I was probably about 180 miles from the finish, maybe 120 miles. But I was feeling good. I get off my bike, call my wife, Meme. I said, she was in a hotel. I said, Meme, it's 10 o'clock. I'm feeling good. I'll be done at 8 in the next morning. And as soon as I got off the phone, I wrote about it. It's kind of funny, I think, about it. But there's things that happen, I think, in everybody's life where you got to decide, or you're going to fight it, you're going to run away.
Right.
And I think that everybody has the ability to fight it. It's just you got to find out something on your side to get the fight out there. Okay. And it's not that I'm better than anybody. You know, and all four of you, I don't know if you guys played sports. We're not better than anybody else out here that's watching this. And there's probably a lot of people watching the show that's better than all of us sitting here. But what happened to me, I was like 130, 140 miles out from the start, and my neck muscles stopped working.
Your neck?
Yeah, because of my MS. My neck just...
Had that happened before?
In the beginning, like a year and a half before. What happened was I was on my bike, and it was 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and I was starting getting dark, and my head was like this. I couldn't hold it up.
I'm still not seeing anything funny yet. Tell me the funny part.
No, okay. So I think it's funny. I couldn't see.
Okay.
So in Paris, if you have to stop at the night, you have to get off the road. Now you can't have anybody helping you. You're on your own. If you can't make it, you got to quit. So you got to have whatever you need to survive. You got to carry it with you. So I've been on a bike up until the point I was like 70 yards. I've been out there. You sleep maybe an hour a night.
Yeah.
Okay. So I get out. This happens. I get off my bike, jump over the guardrail, and you have emergency blanket. I don't know if you've seen those emergency blankets they use when somebody gets sick.
Yeah.
So I covered myself. It was cold. I laying on a tree, and I said, "Look at this." I said, "I'm almost there," and my neck gave up. So I slept, I think, for about 4 hours. See if I rested, it'd go away, and I get up. It kind of went away, and it was funny. What I heard people speaking English going by. It was still dark, and I ran out. I yelled, and I said, "Wait!" There was these 3 kids from Youngstown, who we're still in contact. And I said, "Hey, I can't see. Can I come with you guys?" So what I did is I couldn't lift my head up, and it was dark. And what I did is I was holding my handlebar with one hand and I had to hold my head up like this. So I kept changing, doing this until I got to the control.
My goodness.
And so those guys left me, and then I took another rest. And this time it's 7 o'clock in the morning. I told my wife I was going to be in at 8. So she was down to the finish line waiting for me. And I'm saying, now what am I? Because it was still bothering me. I was okay if I sat down, but as soon as I got my bike, it like this, boom. It was like this, you know. So I rode. What I did, the first thing I did, I grabbed a water bottle, I put it under my neck, and with a dirty cycle shirt, I tied it around, and I was like a St. Bernard, you know, like this. But that didn't work either. It just didn't keep my head up. And then after that, I was about. I'm trying to think in kilometers and miles. I guess I was about 90 miles from the finish line, and I was getting close to the cutoff time. And there was no way I was going to make it. And you know, one is you see those cartoon, I guess it'd be, you know, on cartoons you get that light bulb in your head. I had the idea, and it worked. It worked. I find it's really nice ride. All hours in the day and night. The French people wait. They're up all night, and they're giving you coffee and stuff all night long. You go from Paris to Brest, which is down near Normandy, and back. And it's it's really nice. But anyway, I'm close, so I stop, and these people go, "What's wrong?" I said, my neck, my neck. And I told the lady, the guy spoke a little bit of English, elderly couple. I said, "Listen, you know, on a bicycle, you have the clips on your pedals." I said, "I'm going to lock my feet in. I want you to hold my bike because I don't want to fall over." She did, and I got my extra inner tube out, and I told that lady, "You wrap it around my forehead, and you pull it down my bike." Tie it on my seat. And she did. And what happened was my head went like this. And I rode the last 6 hours, and I finished it, and I got in 40 minutes before the cutoff time.
Wow.
Congratulations.
That was that's I like to tell people that we all get confronted with obstacles in our life, and it's more important, if you can, don't run away from it. You know, fight it. fight it as the best you can, because if you don't give that fight, if you don't fight it, the end result's going to be pretty tragic. I mean,
Sure.
Even with the disease, or even kids going to school, or even in sports, you know, if you don't try to confront it, and it's you know what, it's probably going to end up bad. So it's like but that was one of the things that gave me the confidence to keep going on. You know,
That's great.
Because I confronted that disease. You know, at the same time, I know what I have, and maybe I hope it don't happen. Maybe 5 years and I'll come back here. Maybe I might have a cane. I know what disease I have, but you know, until that happens, I'm gonna give her all I got. You know?
Great.
That's about it.
Keep fighting, and you can talk about yourself anytime like this. It's an inspiration.
Well, because you guys just met me. You know, the problem is I got a real good-looking blonde Italian lady. She's about this high. She don't like to listen to me anymore. So I got to fly home to listen to you guys.
We'll listen to you. Don't worry about it.
I'll tell you,
That is a great story.
Tony's story kind of touches me a little bit, maybe differently, because a girl who's very, very special to me, Sharon Roberts, who went to high school with us, also graduated the year after us, also has MS. She has progressive MS for about 8 years now, and she's fighting also. And it's a terrible, terrible disease, but Sharon keeps on pushing, and you know, I see how it affects her, and it's like, to me, it's amazing to me the way she fights and the way Tony fights against this, and it's Tony's story is inspirational. If you have something that you're fighting up, that you're up against, it's something to see. The movie's called Ride to Finish, and the website's ridetofinish.com. I think you should take a look at it. It's a really good site, and when the movie becomes available,
we'll have the DVD on the site.
So you'll want to be able to get that through this website.
Thanks.
Thanks for sharing that with us.
Great, thank you.
That's an amazing
Appreciate
story.
it.
But it's not about me. It's not about me. It's just to get the word.
You're
out.
an inspiration, even if it's not about you.
Thanks.
Yep.
Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
The movie's very interesting. I mean, as having made some movies myself, I can tell you it's very well made and very interesting. A lot of the footage is from the race, the bicycle race. It's a really, really good viewing.
Well, I wish you good luck in this fight.
Oh, yeah.
And if you need prayers and all that, we'll all start praying.
I got it.
We'll give you extra prayers.
Well, no, there's pray
We'll
for.
give you our prayers for you and others.
I think you ought to pray for. I think we ought to pray for the Steelers.
No, don't waste the prayer.
No, it's a waste.
That's a wasted prayer.
That's a wasted one.
That's a wasted prayer. I'd rather pray for other people that are fighting like you, because like I've talked many times on the show, a lot of these guys, they want to be sports heroes and you look up to them.
Right.
I look up to a gentleman like yourself.
Thank you.
You're a hero.
Thanks.
And I know you don't want to hear it. You're a modest man, but you're a proud man, and you have that fight in you. And you inspire me, and I'm going to tell your story to other people.
Thank you.
Because that's what I do, is tell stories, and inspirational ones like that.
Nice.
You need to write a book about this also. Because people need to see that. And I know you're modest, and you don't want to talk about yourself, but this will help children, other adults, men, women. And like you said, when they face adversity in life, we've talked about it on here. We've all become tougher by adversity.
Exactly.
In this day and age, they give you too many attaboys and attagirls,
Right.
and there's no character after that.
Exactly.
You're teaching this next generation. You're passing the torch, Tony.
Right.
So that's why I'm adamant about
You're right.
your story. And that's what it is. You're the leader of that right now.
Thanks.
And
Well,
I
Tony,
respect it.
if you write a book, please also write a book with a tape to follow for those of us that don't read books, so we can follow along. But when you were in high school, did you ever play against Gateway's Tim Conroy?
Yeah, sure. He's a good friend of mine, and I'm proud to say that he never beat us. Never. You can ask him that. You can ask him that.
I'm gonna give him a call. I'm sure he'd like
tell
to get
him you met
involved in
me,
your
and
cause.
he never beat us.
Jim was from Penn Hills, but he was drawn to the dark side.
Yeah.
Just in time to not win the state championship.
Oh, you went to Gateway? Oh, did you?
Why do you think he's bringing it up?
Oh, is that why you brought it up? No, he's a good guy.
Well, Tim Conroy was actually a first-round draft choice for
He
Oakland A's,
he
right out of high school.
went straight to the big leagues a week after he got drafted.
Was playing in the big leagues.
Yeah,
too,
yeah. Well, he can throw.
Couldn't beat Penn Hills though.
No.
Oh well, that was because of you.
Some teams
No,
just have
there
your number.
wasn't.
And a few others.
No, there's a few other guys out there.
Yeah, there were some pretty good. What other good players were did you play with?
Oh, there
Penn Hills?
was me, Eddie Adams, Kenny Smith, Eddie Cook.
Well, we stole a good baseball player from you guys.
There's a surprise.
Chet
Well,
Williams.
here's an interesting story.
Gateway was recruiting back
No,
then.
Chet Williams, his father's a preacher,
Yes,
right?
sir, yes,
And they moved the Gateway.
Moved.
I go to LSU. Bill Friedoff, who was our first baseman, Penn Hills, comes to LSU.
Wow.
We play against South Alabama, where Chet Williams was the left fielder.
No.
All right.
You got to be kidding.
No, we're friends. In that game, I don't remember. We won, but I remember the only 3 home runs were hit in that game was one by me, one by Bill Friedoff, and one by Chet Williams.
Oh man, that got to be in the movie.
Yeah, now
Gotta
that's
get
a
the Gateway
movie.
in the movie.
That's the
Get
truth.
Mike to make a movie on the 3 home runs.
That's the truth.
Gateway was
We're all,
back then.
we're all,
He's just glad to hear Gateway. Did
Yeah.
you notice that? He wasn't cheering you as soon as he heard Chet Williams with Gateway.
no, because Gateway got the Steeler cards, right?
Yes,
They're
sir.
black and yellow.
Yes, sir.
So you know.
Yeah, but I think if I show you some red and gold, they'd probably change colors.
Yeah,
on you.
yeah. Well, my hero growing up was Louis Biondi. I don't know if you
Lou?
ever heard of him.
Oh yeah, he's a
That was
real
my
good
hero.
friend of mine.
Who Biondi?
You know who his hero is now.
Who?
Hey,
Oh. Well, that way you got a future, right? Come Louis Beyond, you can get a car, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, there you go. You might have been away for a while, but you still
I
know
know-
business.
I'm in
Brother
contact.
used to love the
I'm
big
still,
Lincolns.
I'm still,
Yeah.
no, I'm still in touch with these guys. Yeah, they're also good friends of mine.
No, that's good.
In fact, when we showed the movie, I always thought about, where I get this fight, and I really think I told these to the kids at school when I went up to Penn Hills. The good things and bad, especially the good things that happen in your life when you're growing up, even if you're unlucky to be going to Gateway High School.
Right. Great point. Hey,
Right,
Tony,
right,
great point.
Right.
Great point.
Right. If you're unlucky,
Yeah.
the good things that happen in life. I always say you have to remember each one, write it down, or I like to say you got to put it in a bank. Okay. Your problems that happen that you overcome, you put them in a bank, and then when you further in life, when something big comes out like me, you go back. You say, well, I got over that. So I say, like Mike and all my other friends in Penn Hills, the experiences I had with them is I think that gave me the strength to keep fighting where I'm at today.
And do you think beating Gateway all those times helped? Just as
Well,
a little question.
well,
Could that have been a
well,
good point
well,
that
well,
that was a big bank and not just a little bank?
No, when we went to play them, I didn't even take the bank.
That's the best answer you could have come up with.
I left the checkbook at home. I didn't need that.
You didn't need the bank.
No, they had to go get a mortgage. They had to go get a mortgage.
I knew you had a sense of humor there.
That was good.
No, but it was not really.
I need you, Big Mike.
I tell you, Tony's right, but I mean, there's a lot of people look at things a lot of different ways. Like Tony talked about the 3 greatest days in his life, and I'm sitting here thinking about mine. I can't even come up with the other 2. I know the first one was the day that I lost my fragility.
Fragility. When did that happen?
Agility.
Oh, agility.
No. Virginity.
So
You know Virgin Airlines? That Virgin
that's
Airlines.
his?
Yeah, that's
They named that after him?
Yeah, he's the owner of that. Virgin Airlines. I don't know if you can say that on public access TV, but whoever owns Virgin Airlines.
But another one, I mean, today has been a really good show. I had to thank you for coming out.
Thanks, Mike.
Really, really great story. Glad to have you on so you could tell people about it and to get the word out. And again, go to the website,
RideToFinish.com.
RideToFinish.com, and we'll make sure everybody gets a chance to look at that. And then you guys got any additional questions?
Oh, I got a bunch, but we'll have to
Go
talk
ahead.
privately.
I'm not.
No, here's one of the things. Do
Yeah.
you take any holistic medicine? Do you
I
take
don't
any
know.
vitamins or
Like,
nutrition?
I'm heavy on vitamins, especially amino acids, because I don't like to say anything about medicine, because there's 4 types you can take. I don't like to say what's going on with me, because I don't want people saying, well, that works with him. I'm going to tell my doctor I'm going to take what he's taking.
Well, that's why I'm talking vitamins, nutrition.
Yeah, the
and
vitamin
other
nutrition,
things.
because
Amino acids.
amino acids, because one of the shots that you can take, the therapy, is based on amino acids. So I found by taking amino acids that helps. That helps a
Good.
lot. It works.
No, I always
Kinda-
wonder, because I have some friends that have Parkinson's, MS,
Yeah.
and different things. You know,
What-
one has similar MS like you do.
Yeah, but you know what? My doctor in Italy, they studied me for a year. You know, I had to go into the hospital once a week. I had to keep a journal, what I ate, what I did
Right.
during the day. And he came up with, what is not really a protocol. It's kind of MS. Is he's always told me he's convinced that if you have MS, you have to move, and you have to be mentally and physically prepare yourself like you're getting ready to go to the Olympics. Now, getting to go to Olympics, like for me, might be swimming 300 meters. Okay, maybe somebody's a little bit worse off with the disease. Your Olympics for today might be cooking dinner for your wife.
Right.
But every day you have to push yourself as far as you can go. And the study they did, the more a person pushes themselves through disease, the more your quality of life will be better. Because they're convinced, because in MS it's like electrical wire,
Right.
and the external part of the nervous system, myelin, it becomes eating, the disease eats it. So he thinks if by keep moving as much as you can, the body may find another street, another nerve to go around to maybe move your arm wherever you have damage.
What do they say about being positive, too? Because I've heard that helps most diseases, having a positive attitude, even though you're fighting it.
That to me, that's the most important part. I mean, it's hard to the negative. We all have problems at home. You know, problems on a job. As soon as, for example, somebody has MS or somebody's listening, will know. As soon as you have a little problem, you'll feel it flaring up.
Right.
Well, Tony, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you off there,
Okay.
but we're running out of time.
Thank
you. Okay, you're welcome.
Thanks for coming out. Again, this has been a great show.
Can I shake hands with this guy from Gateway? Are you working with him now?
Yeah.
Is he
Somebody's got to carry the show.
Virgin Airlines?
Yeah, he went there, too.
Virgin Airlines?
Yeah.
Anyway,
He's
thank
on
you
the
very
same
much for
plane.
tuning in.
They got on the bus first.
This Mike Migliore, Jim Frazier, Chip Hayner, Al Levine. We had Tony Lanero on. We'll see you next week at the Level 20 Lounge for Level 20 Sportsline.